The first thing she whispered was not, "Welcome." It was, "Please, don't sign anything today." The billionaire looked up from the leather folder in front of him, certain he had misheard. The young waitress had already lowered her eyes and stepped away, as if those 6 words had never existed. But they did. And within those 6 words was a truth that would save hundreds of jobs, expose a betrayal worth millions, and forever change 2 lives that should never have crossed paths. Nobody noticed her. Nobody ever did. She was just another waitress in a luxury hotel overlooking Berlin's financial district, carrying polished silver trays and smiling at wealthy guests who rarely looked at her face. Her name was Anna. She worked double shifts, sent most of her paycheck home to help her widowed father, and dreamed of returning to university one day after putting her education on hold. She wasn't rich. She wasn't powerful. But she spoke 4 languages. English, German, French. And the language of people who thought no one was listening. That afternoon the hotel's private conference room had been reserved for an international business meeting. The guest of honor was Ethan Brooks, an American technology billionaire whose companies employed over 40,000 people across the world. Unlike the stories the media loved to tell, Ethan wasn't arrogant. He simply trusted experts. His legal team handled contracts. His financial advisors handled investments. His interpreter handled communication. Everything had always worked. Until that afternoon. Anna entered quietly carrying coffee. Around the table sat German executives discussing the sale of a manufacturing company that supposedly wanted to partner with Ethan's expanding European division. Everyone smiled. Everyone shook hands. Everything looked perfect. Anna placed cups carefully beside each guest while the conversation continued in German. She wasn't trying to listen. She couldn't help hearing. One executive leaned toward another and said softly in German, "He has no idea what Clause 32 really means." Several men smiled. Another replied, "His translator won't mention it." "We already agreed." Anna froze for the briefest moment. She continued pouring coffee without changing her expression. Ethan's translator immediately turned to him. "They're saying they're excited to begin a long-term partnership." That wasn't what they had said. Not even close. Anna's heart began racing. Maybe she misunderstood. Maybe there was context. Then another executive laughed. "In 6 months he'll own all the debt while we keep the profitable assets." Again the translator smiled politely. "They're discussing future growth opportunities." Anna nearly dropped the coffee pot. This wasn't interpretation. It was deception. She finished serving and walked back toward the kitchen. Every step felt heavier than the last. It wasn't her business. She needed this job. Interfering with billion-dollar negotiations could destroy her career. Who would believe a waitress over executives, lawyers, and professional interpreters? No one. She kept telling herself to stay quiet. But every time she tried, she remembered her father. Years earlier he had lost everything after signing documents he couldn't fully understand. He trusted someone who promised honesty. By the time he discovered the truth, it was too late. Their family home was gone. Her education disappeared with it. Silence had a cost. She knew exactly what that cost looked like. 15 minutes later she returned with dessert. The meeting had reached the signing stage. Pens rested beside the contracts. The translator leaned toward Ethan. "They're simply confirming standard legal language." Anna knew that was another lie. Her hands trembled. She placed the dessert on the table. Then she quietly leaned toward Ethan. "Please, don't sign anything today." His eyes met hers. She walked away before anyone noticed. Except they had. One German executive frowned. "What did she say?" The translator answered quickly. "She asked whether you'd like more coffee." Anna kept walking. She expected security to stop her. No one did. Behind her she heard Ethan close the folder. "I think we'll postpone the signing until tomorrow." The room instantly became tense. One executive protested. "Our schedules are very busy." Another forced a smile. "There's really no need to delay." Ethan remained calm. "I never make decisions under pressure." The meeting ended without signatures. Anna spent the rest of her shift terrified. Every footstep behind her sounded like someone coming to fire her. Instead, an assistant approached quietly. "Mr. Brooks would like a word." Her stomach dropped. She followed him to a private lounge. Ethan stood by the window overlooking the city. He dismissed everyone else. Then he asked a simple question. "What did you hear?" Anna hesitated. "I could lose my job." "You won't." "I don't have proof." "I didn't ask for proof. I asked what you heard." She took a deep breath and repeated every German sentence as accurately as she could remember. Word for word. Without embellishment. Without drama. When she finished, Ethan said nothing. He simply picked up his phone. Within minutes he connected with another independent translator in London through a secure video call. He asked the translator to review an audio recording made automatically during the meeting. The recording played. Sentence after sentence. Translation after translation. The independent expert's expression slowly changed. Finally he looked directly at Ethan. "Your interpreter intentionally changed multiple statements." Silence filled the room. Then came the contract review. Clause 32. Exactly as Anna suspected. A hidden liability would transfer hundreds of millions of dollars in environmental cleanup costs to Ethan's company after the acquisition. Perfectly legal. Perfectly hidden. Perfectly translated into something completely different. The deal wasn't a partnership. It was a trap. Within hours the entire negotiation collapsed. Investigations began immediately. The interpreter disappeared before authorities could question him. The German executives claimed misunderstanding. Digital evidence told another story. Emails revealed months of secret planning. The translator had accepted enormous payments in exchange for misleading Ethan throughout negotiations. International headlines exploded. Billion-dollar deal stopped at last minute. Interpreter accused of corporate fraud. What really happened in Berlin? Reporters searched for the mysterious person who prevented the disaster. They expected a whistleblower inside the company. A lawyer. An accountant. A government official. Instead they found a waitress. Anna hated the attention. Television crews waited outside the hotel. She declined every interview. "I didn't do anything extraordinary," she kept saying. "I only told the truth." But the story wasn't finished. A week later Ethan invited Anna to visit his European headquarters. She almost declined. She owned only one formal outfit. She felt completely out of place among executives wearing expensive suits. When she arrived, Ethan greeted her personally. "I owe you more than you'll ever know." "You don't owe me anything." "I disagree." He showed her something unexpected. A list. 42,000 employees. "If I'd signed that contract," he explained, "our company would have absorbed impossible liabilities. Plants would have closed. Thousands of people could have lost their jobs." Anna stared silently. "I thought I was helping one person." "You helped families you'll never meet." He then slid another folder across the table. Her heart sank. She feared legal documents. Instead she found a scholarship. Full tuition. Living expenses. Books. Everything required to finish the international business degree she had abandoned years earlier. "I can't accept this." "Why?" "Because I didn't save your company for money." "I know." Then why are you doing this? Ethan smiled. Because integrity deserves opportunity. Tears filled her eyes. No one has ever believed in me like this. I do. Months passed. Anna returned to university. She studied harder than ever. She understood contracts, corporate ethics, international law, negotiation. She wanted to make sure fewer people would ever be deceived by complicated language again. Meanwhile, Ethan changed his company forever. Every international negotiation would now require independent translation verification. No single interpreter could control communication alone. Employees received ethics training emphasizing one simple principle. Question respectfully. Even if you're the only one willing to speak. Especially then. The policy became known internally as the Anna Standard. Not because she was powerful. Because she wasn't. 1 year later, Ethan returned to Berlin. This time there was no billion-dollar deal. Only a quiet dinner. At the same hotel. At the same restaurant. Anna, now completing her final year at university, had agreed to work one weekend each month because she enjoyed seeing old colleagues. She laughed when she noticed Ethan sitting at the same table. You picked this seat on purpose. I did. She served him coffee. So, she smiled, should I warn you not to sign anything today? He laughed. I already learned that lesson. Then he became serious. You know what still amazes me? What? You risked everything for someone you'd never met. Anna looked around the restaurant. People from different countries laughed together. Business travelers. Tourists. Families. We all become strangers only when we stop caring about each other. He nodded slowly. That's worth remembering. Before leaving, Ethan quietly paid every employee's annual holiday bonus anonymously. The hotel management never revealed who funded it. Most staff assumed it came from a corporate promotion. Only Anna knew. She found a handwritten note beneath the receipt. Kindness grows when someone chooses to pass it forward. Years later, Anna became one of Europe's most respected international compliance advisors, helping organizations build transparent business practices across borders. Whenever young professionals asked how she built such an extraordinary career, they expected stories about prestigious universities or powerful mentors. Instead, she always told them about a tray of coffee. A room full of important people. And one moment when doing the safe thing meant staying silent, but doing the right thing meant speaking anyway. She never described herself as brave. She simply believed honesty should never depend on someone's job title. Because truth can come from a billionaire. Truth can come from a lawyer. Truth can come from a translator. And sometimes, truth arrives carrying coffee, wearing a waitress uniform, hoping someone important is humble enough to listen. In a world that often measures people by wealth, status, or influence, the greatest acts of courage usually begin with ordinary people making extraordinary choices. One honest sentence, spoken at the right moment, can protect thousands of lives, restore faith in humanity, and remind us that integrity has no salary, no rank, and no uniform. It only asks one question: when the moment comes, will you speak the truth, even if your voice is the quietest in the room?